In the beginning was the Word. Every sound, every syllable, every whisper you've ever spoken carried energy. Words don't describe your world, they create it. When you speak, you vibrate reality. You give shape to emotion, you tell energy where to go, and the truth is, most people are unaware of the frequencies they are transmitting. Some speak from fear, some from faith, some speak to impress, others speak to impact. But every voice has a vibration, a frequency that either builds or breaks, heals or harms. The way you speak is the way you live. Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam always showed that communication was key to the advancement of your purpose and that everyone has unique abilities to help move your purpose forward. Because those who master their voice don't just move crowds, they move hearts. They move destinies. Abracadabra, the ancient word for I create as I speak, it's a reminder that every phrase you utter, every message you post, every conversation you enter is a form of creation. And creation demands awareness because once you understand that your words are energy, you stop speaking casually. You start speaking consciously. And that's where transformation begins.
What is up, my people? Welcome back to Unique Originality Channel. You know it's your boy Abdul Wahab, and you know I gotta bless the channel. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah wa ashhadu anna Muhammadan abduhu wa rasuluh. So today's video is about the 7 frequencies of communication. And our first one is the motivator, which equals energy. They speak in energy when they walk in the rooms. They bring belief and momentum. And they remind you of more of what you're capable of. And also when you hear their voice, it reminds you you can do it. And also, but the danger is burnout follows it. And only because when you're trying to carry everybody else's fire in your own, you don't have enough energy for that. The real power comes in sustaining the energy you have. So now what comes with energy is the shadow of the motivator, which is the performer. Because without balance, it really does cause a major burnout because, like I said earlier, you're trying to carry everyone else's energy along with your own energy. Or I could say fire, that burning sensation in you when you're trying to achieve a certain or specific goal that you have in life. And when you're in performer mode and you're seeking out applauses, that's where the real burnout comes from, instead of seeking out impact. Because all major energy needs replenishment. With Allah, we can sustain our energy and others. Let's go to the next one. Now we're going to talk about the challenger, which equals courage. And everybody in their life needs a challenger. And I say that because when they speak, they call you higher. Also, when they speak, their words spark discomfort, but it also creates growth. And also, when they speak, they clarify. They don't criticize. And another thing from them, when they lose empathy, that turns into control. And as a challenger, when you try to control somebody, you know what happens. They don't even listen. So you have to understand to keep that balance of empathy, of hearing them out, but also giving them a way to be able to take your words for comfort, but also a little bit of discomfort because they know where you're coming from and you have the best interest. So now let's get to the shadow piece. Come with me. So this is then when we talk about the shadow, and I want you to come with me real quick when it comes to the challenger. You see it's beautiful out here, but if you really think about this water, what do we know? That's where it really get deep. And you know why it get deep? Ponder on it real quick. It get deep because as a challenger, sometimes when they challenge people, it turns into manipulation. Sometimes courage turns into coercion. Sometimes influence turns into control. But what we really know about true leadership is that when you lead in true leadership, it's not measured by the force that you make. It's impacted by what you awaken inside somebody. So once you understand that and you have that mindset of not trying to force something on somebody and then waking that spirit, that fire in them, you're no longer in the deep end no more. But, you know, let's go. Let's go talk about the next one. And third, we're going to talk about the commander, which equals trust. Their voice brings direction. the presence. It brings clarity, order, and confidence. People only really follow commander because of their conviction. Without the conviction, you wouldn't hear that little voice that comes from him that says, follow me. And when a commander loses that impact of conviction, of command, it turns into control, which we don't want to be controlled. And you know that causes chaos when you try to control people that don't want to be controlled. So let's go talk about the shadow of the commander. Come on with me. So now we're going to talk about the shadow of the command, but you got to come with me real quick. Because what happens to the commander, pride turns into dictatorship. And then people only follow out of fear, not respect. And you have to understand that all authority really comes from Allah, who guides those who guide with sincerity. Because without that authority from Allah upstairs, you can't lead or make an impact in this world. So now we're going to talk about the fourth one. We're going to talk about number 4, which is the healer, which equals compassion. When you listen to a healer, you think of safety. You feel safe. You also feel seen. You feel heard. You feel whole. And also, they turn pain into presence and turn silence into understanding. But you got to keep coming with me real quick, because what I'm about to tell you is the truth. Because when you look at it, sometimes they lose their understanding of a boundary. When you lose their understanding of your boundary, you get taken advantage of. Or that you start to drain other people's energy, because at that point, you're no longer trying to heal those people. You're trying to heal yourself. So at the end of the day, when you all look at it, we had a dead tree that I was standing by. If you look at it real quick. And then we decided to come over here and show you what a healthy healer even looks like. Because they can turn into a cipher. And you don't want that. So let's go talk about number 5. Come on now, y'all still got to follow me, right? Because the healer turns into a cipher. And what that means is, as their shadow, when they start to absorb too much energy, they confuse empathy with self-worth. And the only way to start healing others is to heal yourself first. And the best healers start by practicing of healing themselves, because that's not selfish. It's actually sacred. So that's just the shadow of the healer. Don't turn into a cipher. And also, don't be out there ciphering gas. That ain't right. Let me know when you record. I'm ready. So now we're going to talk about number 5, which is the professor, which equals knowledge. And it's actually one of my favorite frequencies, because it's one of my core frequencies. And as a professor, when you educate, it's actually more than that. We illuminate. And then when it comes to information, we take it and it turns into a transformation. And our voice just says, understand. And really, knowledge without empathy causes arrogance. So let's put our ego to the side and make sure the information we take, we can apply it. And along what comes with that, when you are a professor, it's more than just teaching as an act of service. It's actually more of serving a cause. And the only way you can be able to teach, it has to be a gift from Allah, because without it, you won't make an impact. So now let's go to the shadow. So now we're going to talk about the shadow of the professor, which is called a diminisher. And a lot of things come with that. When you're a diminisher, you take the knowledge and you try to twist it, and then it becomes arrogance. And then when you try to teach, it becomes superiority. And then sometimes when you take your wisdom, and it turns into judgment. True knowledge is a gift to share, not a weapon to yield. As we really think about it and I reflect on the Prophet's life, he always consulted with all his Sahaba, which is his companions. And because when you consult with them, you get more information and you can make the world a better place. So now we're going to talk about number 6, which is the seer, which equals vision. It's actually one of my favorite frequencies, because it's one of my core frequencies. The seer speaks in possibilities. They see what doesn't exist yet and make others believe in it. Their voice says, imagine. But if they get trapped in perfection, vision becomes illusion. The greatest seers are builders, not dreamers. And you guys know what comes with that, the shadow. Trapped in perfection, the seer becomes the perfectionist. Paralyzed by ideals, vision without action becomes illusion. The greatest seers balance dreaming with doing, trust in Allah to guide the steps between. And you know, I believe. So now we're going to talk about the last one, which is number 7, which is Maven. And it's actually my favorite frequency too, because it's part of my core frequency. And Maven equals curiosity. So as a Maven, your curiosity about anything, you think there's an answer to everything. You don't allow the world to tell you what can't be, you know what could be. And we take madness and understanding and we meet it in the middle, because there's a lot of things that's out here that people don't think about that they should. And sometimes with that type of curiosity is where you create impact and you even technology advancement, so to speak. But the bad thing about it sometimes is when you destroy systems and you don't create better ones, you have a new problem, which isn't good. But when a Maven is grounded with true curiosity and purpose, they can change the world. So now we're going to talk about the shadow. So lastly, we have the shadow for the Maven, which what happens to a Maven, they turn into a nihilist. And nihilists, they reject everything without creating. Their curiosity turns into destruction. A Maven must ground their genius in service, knowing that Allah can transform insight into impact. That's all I got for you. Let's get it. Peace.
Life will call for different frequencies at different times. Today, be the motivator where hope is needed. Be the challenger where courage is required. Be the commander when clarity is demanded. Be the healer when wounds are exposed. Be the professor when knowledge is needed. Be the seer when vision is required. Be the maven when curiosity can unlock a new world. With Allah's guidance, we can speak with purpose, resonate with truth, and touch hearts with every word.
So now that we've spoke about all 7 frequencies, I came to a few personal reflections. Because the world we live in the way it's going, there's a silver lining in it. And there's very few that can tip the scales. And I think a person, when they try to find their authentic self and they speak in a way that carries their experiences, their aspirations, their failures, and you bring it all together and you truly speak from the heart, I think there's a way to move people. You just have to be willing to do the work, because it's a challenge, a gift, and it could be rewarding, but sometimes it's difficult when you feel like you're the only one in the world who wants it better, who tries to do better. Even though I'm not perfect, I've been in a spot where I want to do more and I didn't do more. So I'm guilty of it, but I think every day, because it is on my mind consciously, I want to change the world and leave it off better than I found it, by the words I speak and how I make people feel, and just to have them understand that they can create whatever they want only if it's in their decree, because Allah controls everything, and without it, you won't be anything. So this is my personal reflection, and I hope I made you a better person.
Sometimes you need to motivate. Sometimes you need to heal. Sometimes you need to see beyond what is. Your voice is your instrument, and your life is the music it creates. So the question is, what frequency are you living in?